please rise for the pledge? I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the village board meeting of November 28th. Roll call, please.
Pearls.
Here.
Possession.
Here.
Giannotti.
Here.
Terry.
Here.
Stacy. Kraus.
Here.
I believe there are two sets of minutes in the packet. Unless I've lost my mind. Yes, one's for committee meeting. Okay. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the regular board package minutes from November 14th?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Pearls.
Yes.
Possession.
Yes.
Giannotti.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
And then if there are no corrections or changes, would someone make a motion to approve the minutes of the Finance and Administration Committee meeting of November 14th?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Kraus.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Giannotti.
Yes.
Possession.
Yes.
Pearls.
Yes.
Okay, and there is no clerk's report. Does anyone in the audience wish to address the board? All right, my report. Last meeting, a couple came in representing the Southland Unification Parade Association. And I guess there was different information in the letter as opposed to what he said when he was at the meeting. Apparently there is a one-time fee of $100 if we wish to participate in this cause. I doubt that we're going to be having the event here, but I'll leave it up to you guys if you want to donate $100 toward the unification cause. Does anybody have any thoughts? Nada? Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the one-time fee of $100? Okay,
Can I make a motion to table it, kind of see
do a little
what,
more research.
yeah, and just kind of see what other surrounding communities are doing and stuff,
Okay.
like.
We were
local
looking for a
adjacent.
website, yeah, we were looking for a website and didn't see anything. We were looking for a little bit of information, but yeah. The last I spoke to Moni, I don't think they had been approached, so, but they might have since I spoke to them. But we can look around.
So we're not saying no, but
We're just gonna
Yeah,
postpone
I
it.
think if we do a motion to table it, then it can come back, right?
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And if it just were to die with no motion, then
Okay, all right, so does someone want to make a motion to table the,
I'll make a motion to table it and kind of observe what the other 42 local communities do.
okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
A second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Pearls.
Yes.
Possession.
Yes.
Giannotti.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
Okay, we're looking to cancel the December 26th meeting of the village board. Would someone like to make that motion?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call.
Kraus.
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Giannotti.
Yes.
Possession.
Yes.
Pearls.
Yes.
Okay, there is going to be a gun store opening at 997 Dixie Highway. It should be about January 3rd. We all met with them last week to kind of go over their security plan and, just their general plans. And he's going to call it Gunslinger something or another. He
Yeah.
wanted to have kind of an Old West theme. He's mostly going to have used guns at first, not, like a huge array of guns. He's not interested in plastic or any new kind of stuff. He wants to do kind of old things, buy guns back, some hunting knives in the beginning, and he's looking to grow slowly. He's from Crete. The chief was there, his security guy was there, and, all of our questions were answered. If you had any other input or?
No, he had a very thorough plan. He has a alarm, he has a buzzer, buzz people in. He's got proper lighting. Like the mayor said, he had his alarm guy there. All of the weapons will be put away at night and locked in the safe, which is very report, which a big safe that we mounted to the floor.
Yeah, that'll be
He
bolted.
did everything we asked, and, I don't think there's anything else that, I would recommend.
I participated in a Chicago Southland Chamber of Commerce roundtable via Zoom last week. Was it last week before last? Time is beginning to fly, 2 weeks ago. They had tried to get this call going right after the election, and it was a little difficult it was between Moni, Piatone, and Beecher, and most of us were newer mayors, and we were kind of just getting our feet under us, and, we kind of skedaddled on the whole idea of having the call back then. So we got involved in this one, and I think at the end of the call, we could only see the three of us on the screen, and Terry Winfrey actually moderated the call. So you couldn't see who else was listening, but it looked like by the end there was about 23 people on it, because there was a couple of questions that came in. But mostly it was, they gave each of us a chance to kind of brag about our area, just talk about what's going on that's new. I talked about businesses that have changed hands, like, Fitness Premier. I talked about the gun shop that's coming, went over plans for Christmas for the tree lighting, went over what we do with the public safety as far as people that are in need with buying toys, and I mean there was just a plethora, and each one of us took probably a good 10 minutes to go over all the things that were happening in the community. So it started with that. There was of course the inevitable airport question that came up, and they gave us the option to not answer if we didn't want to, but we all took the answer. Basically, all three of us said that, if the airport comes, the most important thing to all of us is that we need to have local control. I kind of told them a story about, I appear to be a jinx, probably late 80s, early 90s, I lived in Burnham. And the weekend I put my house on the market was when they broke the news about 3 potential sites for the airport, one of which was Lake Calumet, and the runway was going to be on my house. So everybody there kind of lost property values for a year, everything dead in the water for a year until Mayor Daley decided that was not a good spot at the time. But I says, out here we have the same issue, 30 years of things being dead in the water, and you can't do planning if you don't know what to plan for. So that was pretty much what everybody agreed on the call. And the last thing was they asked us if we had a wish list of one kind of business that we could have in our town, what would it be? And it was real interesting because it was kind of like where we were before. Piatone really wants a hardware store, and Moni really wants a grocery store, and I said, family restaurant is probably what I would like to have here. So that was it. It was, it was a nice call. It wasn't a gotcha kind of question thing. It was all basically just, tell us about your area, what's going on, what you have to brag about. So, it was a good call. I couldn't see who all was on it, so I have no clue. Eastern Will County Transportation meeting is scheduled for this coming Wednesday at 1:30 at Piatone Village Hall. Will County Executive will be leading the discussion about improving truck routes in this region, and we plan to attend. And that is the end of my report. Finance and Administration Committee, Trustee Kaporis.
All right, consider an ordinance adopting a tax levy for the 2022 collectible in 2023. As we discussed at the last board meeting, this proposed levy provides for an increase of 4.95 over the previous levy, with all the increase coming for police protection tax levy. This would result in an increase of $31,580 new to be used to cover the increase in costs of providing police protection in the village, such as wages, benefits, fuel, and cost of vehicles. You have an ordinance number?
That is 1382.
I'll go ahead and make a motion approving ordinance 1382, adopting a tax levy for the 2022 collectible in 2023.
There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I will second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. Roll call.
Caprows,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Giannotti,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kraus,
No.
Consider a resolution authorizing the expenditure of ARPA funds per U.S. Treasury guidelines for the improvement of parks and recreation in the village of Beecher. This resolution is a culmination of 2 village board workshops in which this topic was discussed, where consensus has been reached on how to proceed with the remaining funding that is currently unobligated. Make sure that all the numbers in the resolution are, that we agreed upon. This resolution will formalize our consensus and authorize the Parks and Rec Committee to move forward with implementation. We have a resolution number?
It is 2022-12.
Alright, I'll go ahead and make a motion approving resolution 2022-12, authorizing the expenditure of ARPA funds per U.S. Treasury guidelines for the improvement of parks and recreation in the village of Beecher.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion?
Yes. But, you wanna go first, or you want?
This should be a quick question. If we need, and I understand it's a resolution on the ordinance, but if we need to reallocate or move monies around for different projects, if some comes under or over, are we allowed to do that? Or are we bound by these numbers?
So, I mean, Bob, you could probably expand on it a little further, but yeah, you're kinda locked in those numbers, and that's one of the things I wanted to address. One of the things that I wanted to address is that there is still, how much of a due to? 315 minus 70?
The due to is 230.
230. So, my big thing is, you know, if one of these, say, I mean, just because I'm looking at it here, the $40,000 we provided to repair and maintain existing parks and communities, such as a new slide for, I mean, if those things come up to 45,000, I don't want to see things get cut. You know what I mean? I'd like to see it done and
Or
done
cut
right.
Or
I
cutting
mean,
corners. Or cutting corners.
Yeah, exactly, that's exactly my point on it, is, you know, I don't want corners cut on this. I mean, we did this off of our,
That's
without
guesswork.
any, yes, exactly, without it having any hard, you know, estimates in front of us and on cost of equipment and stuff like that, and guesstimates on labor. I guess my thing would be, if there's something that we could add to this at the bottom, and if we have to table it and have it rewritten or whatever, to where it would say that, you know, monies left in due to would be used to complete the project.
Well, what I would is approve the resolution now, and let the committee come back to the board with suggested changes, because we meet twice a month. In fact, we have a meeting after this meeting to get it going. But I'd like to get legislative authority to start moving. And this resolution will do that. And if it needs to be changed, we'll bring it to you, like we're saying, well, you know, what costs more to light up the pathway, but we may not need all that money for the park benches, so could we slide some park bench money to light, so we get both projects done? But let the committee do its due diligence first.
And what are we discussing tonight as far as this goes? What are we specifically going over tonight?
Basically, it's a legislative authority to spend ARPA funds on.
No,
When
no, no,
do you
I
mean
mean,
after
this meeting
our meeting?
afterwards.
I'm
I've got the
sorry.
lighting,
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I've got some numbers on the lighting and stuff like that, got some numbers for
To
the
figure out how to tackle it.
benches, and then starting just preliminary, numbers.
Figuring out what public works can handle, what they can't
Yeah.
handle, stuff like that.
See, start getting a timeline
So-
together.
If we did a motion, not a resolution, would we be able to move the, cause like, if we do this in a resolution and whatever, the top line says 5,000, it comes under, and the next one says 60 and it's over, do we have to come back and amend this every time? We have to, like, if we said
No.
something's under, something's over, do we need to?
I think at least as long as those projects get done,
As long
and the bottom line is achieved, but if you need more money, you would have to come back to
Yeah,
the board for
then-
more money.
But I'm saying
Instead of
is
making
this-
a resolution, right?
You know, you're not gonna hit all these projects to the penny. I mean, some are gonna be over, some are gonna be under. The bottom line is you wanna get the project done.
But that's what I'm asking, if there's a resolution and these numbers are in here for these projects, anytime we move that around, do we have to come back to the board and amend the resolution, or how does that?
No, you just advise them, get concurrence. I wouldn't get hung up. This just gives you the legislative authority to spend ARPA funds.
Okay,
And that was something we said all along had to happen before we started spending.
So we're not married to these numbers at the end of the day.
No, if we have to change them, we'll bring them back to the board for change. This gives you guys, the committee, the direction.
Do we still wanna see though, like, if there is an overage then, that it comes out of that due to?
It is possible that
We just,
the committee may wanna start spending some of these funds to get these projects rolling. I know the superintendent has stressed to me, if there's equipment we need to buy, let's buy it, so we have the ability to build the equipment, stuff like that. And I don't wanna hold up the process, because we gotta go to a board meeting and ask for
Yeah.
You know, so if you adopt a resolution, at least we have a guideline. That's what this is.
Yeah.
I mean, if we need to, and if something's over 5,000 or 10,000, we just change the due to.
Yeah. You could do that, or come back to the board and say, we have a new financing plan, here, approve it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
But this solidifies what you all agreed to at the last committee meeting, which right now was only a committee meeting.
Anything else?
Done.
Roll call.
Kraus,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Genati,
Yes.
Possession.
Yes.
Caprows.
Yes. Labor attorney provides comments to the first draft of updated personnel manual. This is a 107-page manual, covers all personnel rules which are not covered in a collective bargaining agreement. Once staff has vetted all the attorney's comments, it will be provided to the committee and eventually the village board for review and adaptation later this winter. IMRF pension fund employer rate notification. The current rate is 4.57%. Our budget and our 5-year plan, we're banking on a 10% rate in the coming years due to the poor economy. We were just notified that the village continues to be overfunded, so they are reducing our rate down to 3.66 for 2023. Pension investments are largely in treasuries and securities. When interest rates rise, so do the fund balance. This is good and unexpected news. That concludes my report.
Okay. Public Buildings and Properties, Parks and Recreation Committee, trustee Giannotti.
All right, consider a motion, or consider a proposal in the amount of $32,670 from Piggish Engineering for site design of the new police facility. 3 proposals were solicited for this work, and one of the firms, Robinson Engineering, was unable to meet the timelines for the project. Baxter and Woodman came in at $77,540, and Piggish came in at $32,670, which were our 2 received proposals. The architect reviewed these 2 submitted proposals and found some differences, but not enough to change the recommendation. Piggish will be increasing its limited liability limits, and testing of contaminated soil will only occur if necessary, and has added cost by the architect consultant. Staff is recommending the lower of the 2 proposals, which will save the village over $40,000 on the project.
After the agenda was posted, Piggish submitted the amended proposal, increasing their liability limits to the extent of their insurance and providing the 4 30-foot borings that the architect wanted for the foundation of the building. So the new amended price was $35,680, which is still significantly lower than the other one received,
And
$77,540. So the recommendation does not change, the amount went up a little bit.
And Baxter Woodman's number also didn't include the boring holes, correct?
That's correct, they didn't go to 30.
So there would have been an increase there as well. I'd like to make a motion accepting the proposal from Piggish Engineering for the site design of the new police facility in the amount of $35,680.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion?
I have a question. In the email from the architect, it says can't compare the 2 proposals. It says it does not find them to be apples to apples. But when I read it, they both look similar. Is there?
We fixed the apples to apples. We got the borings and the liability coverage for the 2 big ones.
Painted the oranges red, it's apples to apples now.
It's pretty close. It might be a green apple versus a red apple, but it's an apple.
And it meets all the needs.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have one question. Was there any discussion from Baxter?
Oh, I called them and told them that I was not recommending that they get this proposal, and here's why. And I guess it concerned me that when I gave them a second chance to resubmit, it went up by $5,000 from June.
Okay.
And this is taxpayers' money, we gotta be very, it's
Yeah,
not a federal
100%.
job like a lot of these other ones. This one, we gotta
100%.
sharpen our pencil.
Cut it out.
Okay, anything else? Roll call.
Caprows,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Junati,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Alright. The new Boomer 50 tractor has been delivered to the park and has been placed into service. I actually ran it, yesterday and it runs better than the other one noticeably too, so. Sale of, Penfield, 652 Penfield was completed on Wednesday, and the funds have been placed into, general. Closing statements are enclosed.
Just a note on that, the general paid for that lot to begin with, so I put that money back into general, but you guys can decide where you wanna put that money. It's kinda like free money, but where it belongs, yeah.
And we will have a committee meeting after the regular board meeting to discuss the implementation of the ARPA plan. So you're welcome to stay if you'd like, and that concludes my report.
Planning, Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Terry.
Mayor, we have nothing to report.
Okay. Public Safety Committee, Trustee Terry.
Consider a ordinance establishing a police commissioner for hiring and promoting of police officers. The ordinance has been vetted by Labor Council and the village attorney and is now ready for adoption after all board comments have been received and addressed. Any questions?
Chief, you're good with this too, right?
Okay, so I'd like to
It's ordinance number 1383.
make a motion considering the ordinance establish a police commission for hiring and promoting police officers.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion?
Just under discussion, this is a modified police commission, it's not pure by state statute because we are still under 5,000 and don't have to follow it. If you go over 5,000 in 2030, you'll have to amend this ordinance to be in compliance with state statute.
Roll call?
Kraus,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Junati,
Yes.
Possession,
Yes.
Caprows,
Yes.
And consider a three-way stop at Hunter's Drive in Windscape and Hunter's Chase. Chief, do you have a report?
Sure.
Or it's enclosed, I think, right?
Yeah,
Email?
I can report on it and make recommendations if you like. So, myself, Bob, and I believe you, Mayor, were approached by a resident at the open house about speeding on Hunter's Drive. So we did a speed study, we assigned an officer in an unmarked car to sit on Windscape, and he was positioned so that the cars going westbound wouldn't see him until the last minute, so we got a true speed off them. Eastbound cars, they wouldn't be able to see him. So he did it on 10 different days, at different times of the day, based upon what the complainant thought the speeding was most prevalent. And the speeding study revealed that most cars are going between 25 and 30, speeding was 25. I didn't actually do an average yet because I'm not that good with math. And all we did was copy down the wrong number, but I would say it'd be about 27 or 28 pounds per hour. So, I don't recommend a stop sign, and I did talk to the resident at length. I brought the officer that did the study with me. We went and talked to him, and I think he understands. A yield sign would be more, probably be more appropriate. Another thing the board could consider, I'm not in no way recommending it, is to lower the speed limit. The resident did say that there are a number of sidewalks that are not completed on the block there. He said, I think there's 3 of them. They asked that the city may, if they could, finish the sidewalks there. He was very understanding of what was going on. I would recommend that no stop sign be put in. It's my recommendation to the board that we don't need a stop sign there. I'd recommend if you believe the sign should be put up, that it be a yield sign. 2 of them both on Hunter's Drive going each direction.
I had another complaint about 6 months ago from a resident, and I think she lived a little further down that road because she had said they're speeding on that road too. So that's why I, brought up that night. This was the second complaint we had. It's a shame we don't have that thing operational that had the, you are going 30-some miles an hour.
Oh, that
You know.
old speed limit thing?
Yeah, well, those things actually are kind of cool. They got one in Mantino, and that always makes me like, oops, as I go past it, but.
Is the speeding traffic more eastbound or westbound, or is it equal? Your opinion?
We didn't record.
I don't know which way the speeders are from.
But the new signs, they actually record speed and you can get an average. They actually give you an average of all the people speeding on that street, and average speed altogether. You don't have to put an officer on there.
Really? That's pretty cool.
I'm just not sure how the yield sign would work.
Right.
It's at a stop, you know what I mean? The
Right.
opposite traffic is a stop
I
sign.
mean, it's just alerting them to children, because the residents complain that there's a lot of children in here.
Yeah, the speed limit change too, I don't think would work, because I think every street, every residential street is 25 miles an hour, correct?
Minus.
So that road is 25.
That's right.
And to make it any lower, you're going to have unprecedented number of requests for other streets to go lower.
Right.
I think the slow children playing sign is very,
That's what I was just gonna
is
say.
that what you were gonna say? Yeah.
Children
Yeah.
plays.
We could order a couple of those and put those up.
We can put them going each direction.
But actually, for this maintenance issue itself, we would only need one on the north side of the street, because there's no homes on the south side right there. There is as you go further in, but not right there.
But I think they're looking more east-westbound on Hunter's Drive.
Yeah, we'd have to put them in both directions, slow children playing. And then I've even seen, Matt, where we could even maybe attach a barricade light to the sign for 30 or 60 days so it blinks. We could do that too.
They make, they're tricolored. They actually sit on top of the poles and they spin with the wind. They're orange, and white. It's very eye-catching. If we can maybe look into something like that for those specific signs.
Yeah. So is that the
Okay.
board's desire, is that what we wanna do?
So then I will, make the motion to have slow children play signs with lights and or spinners for east and westbound traffic on Hunters.
Do we even need a motion for that, or should we, or?
I don't think so.
You know, I mean,
We're just
just, not a motion, but consensus of the
Yeah.
board, that that's the direction you wanna go, you accept the chief's recommendation.
I agree.
I agree.
Yep.
Matt's got his marching orders, we're good.
And that concludes my report.
Public Works Committee, trustee Kraus.
Sewer Department monthly report is enclosed. Leaf collection update, Matt.
We should be finished with the town tomorrow, and then that'll be the end of leaf collection for this year. So we did 3 loads today. We got most of the older part of town done today, so all we have is east of Dixie left. So.
Did you go over your minimum number of loads? Do you know?
No, currently I believe we're at 53, so we're right on track for average.
Wool Street water main project update.
M&J was on site today, going over some checklist stuff that Steve and I created for valve turning and being able to key V-boxes. So they were on site today. If you drive down there today, you'll see that they were up there saw cutting. There's some holes in the middle of the road with cones and barricades around it, but they're planning on asphalt patching all those tomorrow. So should be short-lived again.
Really?
Yeah.
Penfield STP project update. There's been some changes to the funding that will actually work in Rose's favor, and this will be explained by the engineer.
Yes, we were told in September we were gonna get $328,000 in extra money toward our local match, because we're way over. I think our match is, we're allowed 80%, and they can only give us up to about 72%. They said we were getting $328,000, then I found out that due to procedures that were not followed by certain individuals at the county, we weren't getting the money, and I blew a gasket. So a project in the county did not proceed as planned this year, so they allocated to us additional funds. So I'm asking the mayor tonight if she would sign a letter asking for an additional $570,542 to cover more of our local match, to bring our local match down to about $1 million on this project. This is big. If we get this money, there's even a possibility, and we won't know until 6 months from now, we may not even have to borrow the funds, we just might be able to pay it off. And that might be very substantial given the fact that these interest rates are going up. So I guess it doesn't really require a motion of the board, but if the mayor so desires, she can sign this letter.
Let me think
Let's
about
get
it.
that money. Let's go get that money.
more money?
I don't know.
And again, Baxter Woman was a significant help in helping us get this money as well. So it's a double-edged sword. They do good on federal jobs, and on these little jobs, their overhead doesn't match. That's it for STP.
And then, hydrant flushing,
Yeah, hydrant flushing has been completed for the fall. We're required by the Illinois EPA to do one flushing a year. We typically do two, one in the spring, one in the fall. This year we did flushing as well as greasing and pumping down of every single hydrant. So we grease all the caps, everything like that, so they go on and off easier for the fire personnel. At the bottom, you guys can see where we have some malfunctioning or out of service hydrants, all of which are supposed to be repaired or replaced next week. So we do have East Jordan Iron Works coming out to help us replace two of the inner working guts of two of the hydrants. So everything should be back in service hopefully by the end of next week.
Is the one on Hunter's Drive on the list?
That is,
That's
yep,
taken out?
yep, to get replaced, yeah. That one was hit by a car, yeah, quite a while ago. The hydrant itself was leaking, so we shut the whole water main off in that section and just tried to get to it when we had time, and it kind of got forgotten about. And we've had numerous problems over in that area. We actually have a hydrant right on the corner of Dixie and Hunters that is completely missing. We took it off of the maps and everything. We capped it because it continued to get hit. I believe it got hit 6 times, so we disbanded it from our system. And yeah, for whatever reason, Hunters Drive is a bad omen with cars versus hydrants for some reason.
Doing 25.
Yeah, doing 25 miles an hour, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, just one other thing. We've learned that the first commodity that we might run low on nationwide, if there is a railroad strike, is chlorine gas. So Public Works is going to be ordering extra chlorine gas to store at our well houses and at the sewer plant in the event that rail strike does occur, because that's how 98% of chlorine gas gets transported in the country is by rail. They don't have pipelines for chlorine. So we want to make sure our water system has chlorine. I can't imagine that the rail strike would last long. The government would have to step in and intervene in that case because it's a vital thing. They got to get this issue resolved.
that's all I have.
Okay. Economic Development Community Relations Committee, trustee session.
Thank you very much. Results of tree lighting ceremony in Fireman's Park. So this was held yesterday. Although the weather was a little less agreeable than we would have liked, the village welcomed a large number of guests to Fireman's Park for the tree lighting. For what we set out to do, I think it's safe to consider a success from all perspectives. I think we had around 8 entries for the miniature light parade, which was held with no issues and well attended. Attendees were able to enjoy free food and refreshments, take family photos, enjoy crafts in Santa's workshop, and lined up to visit with Santa Claus after the parade. Although the BHS band was unable to make it at the last minute, the new speaker system in the park provided an excellent means of enjoying holiday music throughout the event and for making announcements. The 50-50 for Shop with a Hometown Hero raised $160 total, and the winner, upon being notified today, donated her winnings back to the charity cause, which is wonderful. Although not many were brought, the toys collected at the event were transferred to Frosty's Friends yesterday. Excellent feedback was received on the event, with many compliments on the village tree, the Santa's workshop, and the great memories everyone was able to make overall. Finally, thanks to the Washington Township, Beecher Lions Club, Beecher Chamber of Commerce, Beecher Fire Protection District, the Community Building Leadership, the Beecher Police and EMA, Beecher Public Works, village staff, the 4th of July Commission, the Beecher Youth Commission, St. Paul, St. Luke's, Zion Lutheran Church, my fellow trustees, and the village president for all pitching in and helping in one way or another to support donations or hard work. So that's how it went.
It proves that it takes a village, doesn't it?
It does take a village, and I had to write it down so I didn't forget anybody this time.
I think a big thank you though needs to go to Ben himself. Ben put a lot of
Yes, he
work
did.
into
Ben,
this.
Ben was, I
Yeah.
mean, he put together, he ordered backdrops for this, took care of ordering supplies for the kids and coloring book things and coordinating with everyone and running the meetings and getting everybody put together. So, absolutely thanks to Ben, because he did a fantastic job putting this thing together.
Well done. Thank you. No, it was a very large group effort, I can definitely take the credit.
It's a hard room to run a meeting in.
I think you gotta mention the man that dressed up as the Grinch too, because that
Well,
was
Oh,
phenomenal.
yeah,
dressed up as the
definitely.
Grinch.
Phenomenal.
Dressed up as Santa's one of these recognition.
Well,
Santa
yes.
Claus is the man.
Santa Claus is the man. And actually, throw some more in for Joe Giannotti, Todd Kraus being down at the park and making sure everything was set up and getting the speakers put up. Kenny Bobowski, who's not even a member of this, doesn't even live in town, wasn't down there working, but the guys on Parks did a great job all day too, setting up and doing all the heavy lifting in the wind.
Indeed, it's been really nice seeing on social media all the pictures of people's families enjoying the event and, having nice things to say about it. So I think as far as, things that maybe we can improve in the future, for one, I think it'd be nice if we can solicit more direct BYC involvement with the Santa's Workshop. The EMA did a fantastic job posting it, and I think like the BYC though, might be able to be more active in coming up with additional crafts and activities. And then that also frees you guys up to do more EMA activities like around the parade and whatnot.
Were you busy under there, Bob?
Yeah.
Did you have a lot of?
We were actually, I think we had the stations too close,
Mm-hmm.
so it got pretty jammed up in there, so in the future, I think we would spread
Spread out a little bit
the
more.
stations a little more, give us a little more room, but yeah, it was very busy.
The order making was, it took up like, 7 tables, I think.
Yeah.
Again, these are dry runs, I mean, you gain experience as you move forward.
Yeah, it was very nice.
Yep, if anything, I'm happy that there were enough people to clog it up. And then, of course, we got lucky with the weather, I would say, too. I mean, it looked like it was gonna be a lot rougher, and it kind of cut at the end there to be better. So, I do think in the future, it would be smart to rent out the community building, if nothing else, to have access to some indoor restrooms and the backup space for, in case it is windy or rainy. We can move backdrops inside if we'd like to, or something like that, so, some ideas. Anything else anyone would like to share on that? Yeah. So in that case, summer concert series update. Joe, would you like to take this one?
Sure.
Trustee Giannotti?
All right, so we have our June concert scheduled. We are still running on the 4 concerts, so we're gonna do June, July in conjunction with the 4th of July, August and September, which will be the first Saturday of each month, and then we're planning 2 Sundays out. And we have both the acts for the Sundays, it's just figuring out which one is gonna be best for which date.
Do you have the dates on those Sunday ones?
We haven't decided yet.
Okay.
If we're gonna do June, August, or August, September, we're still deciding on that, so. But trying to condense it down a little bit, and we're actively working on the rest of the acts and, getting food vendors. If anyone's familiar with any food vendors, I know Joe, I'll get the taco truck from last year from you, but if anyone else knows any food vendors, food trucks or anything like that, throw them our way.
Definitely.
Cause we're looking for, change it up a little bit, get a little different, kind of food every time, so. But yeah, other than that, all systems go and looks like, shaping up to be a nice year out there in the park, so.
Excellent, thank you very much. No problem. In that case, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Is there any old business to come before the board? Any new business to come before the board? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, roll call?
Capros,
Yes.
Possession.
Yes.
Giannotti,
Yes.
Carey,
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.